Okay, so I just went to Sedona with the mastermind that I'm in for an amazing week-long retreat. And I knew going in that this retreat was going to be more of like a reset. It was going to be more spiritual. It was going to be more refreshing. It was going to be less business. And I was really excited. But I also just was like, I don't know what's going to come up for me, right? Because anytime we go do something like that and we're really intentionally showing up, I know my coach, Kayla, is going to ask hard questions and it's going to bring up things for me. And I love it. But there's like that love hate relationship, right? Where you're like, oh no, this hurts so good type thing. So we went in to the trip and you guys know that Peter and I have been working with a marriage coach since May or June. And while it's so good for us, it has dug up so much. I mean, you guys know our story, right? You know what we've been through, you know the struggle of the last 5 years. And while we did get to a place of surviving, for me, I hit this point of realizing like we're not thriving, we're not growing together. We are past the emergency, but that's it. We're like stuck in the same patterns. We're stuck in like who we were 3 years ago, but we're not those people anymore. And so we started working with this marriage coach, and that looks like dealing with a lot of old stuff, feeling a lot of feelings that haven't been felt, speaking things out there that need to be spoken, and it's brought up a ton emotionally for me. I thought I'd really processed a lot of my stuff. And while I had, it's brought up even more because we're being really intentional about the healing process this time. And so I'm one of those people, you guys probably can guess, that I'm either like in it and I'm like feeling all the feels and like totally in all of that, or I'm like rocking my life, rocking my face off, out there for my business, blah, 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 right? It's kind of like, I'm either in my feminine energy or my masculine energy. I don't know how to blend the two. And I know for me personally that therapy was useful in helping me, this was years ago, in helping me talk about things and be able to put a voice to things that maybe I hadn't have. But that's all it did for me. It just really seemed to stir up a lot of emotion and it didn't move them forward for me. And so with coaching, especially with Kayla, it's been really different in asking really good questions to help you take a different perspective, which allows you to move forward. Now, with our marriage coach, the first part of working with him is all about feeling. And it's all about going back and stirring up all the crap. And so I have been up and down a lot with feeling like I'm either totally in all my emotions and I'm sad and I'm angry and I'm struggling because of that. Like I have no motivation, I have no clarity. Or I'm like not feeling that and I'm like game face on, I'm totally in my business, I'm excited, blah, 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 blah. And I've really struggled with this, you guys. I've really struggled with allowing myself the space to get into those feelings mode because I'm like, it takes me out. Like, I don't know how to feel without it literally taking me out of my life, out of my business, like becoming this depressed person. And going to Sedona, I was in that place of feeling feelings, but I thought, you know what? I'm going to go hang out with the girls. It's going to be fine. And then, of course, because of Kayla, knowing who she is, she always asked the real questions and the hard questions, which meant that I was sharing a lot with the girls and talking about where I was at with things and the struggle that it's been for me the last few months and how I was really feeling like I'm stuck. I'm really stuck in a lot of these emotions and I'm stuck in feeling a certain way and I'm stuck in not even knowing what to do. Like I felt so stuck during that week of Sedona that I was like, I don't even have a vision for my business. Like, I don't have a vision for anything in my life right now. And I wanted to talk to you guys about this because, I mean, Sedona was amazing. And I'm going to share more about our breathwork sessions and all the things because that was life changing. And I did a lot of releasing there, a lot of releasing with the emotions. But I had a couple of them, including Kayla, look at me and say, what if you could just accept where you were at instead of forcing yourself to try to be in some different place or have some sort of decision? And that was probably the best question they could ask me, because I'm someone that's like, I need to know. I need to know where I'm going. I need to know what my business is doing. I need to know like what my decision is. And I didn't even realize that the reason I was feeling so stuck in my emotions is because I was sitting there being like, come on, Joy, what are you going to do? Like, what's your answer? What's your decision? And I was putting so much pressure on myself to have a decision about going forward, what I wanted in my business, a whole bunch of things, instead of just saying, it's okay. Like, it's okay to be here right now, struggling in my feelings. It's also okay to show up really freaking badass at my job. It's okay to go back and forth between the two. It's okay to not know what I'm going to do in 3 months. I don't need to know. And basically waiting on God to give me the answer rather than forcing myself to have to come up with something right now. And that was so eye opening for me, because I realized I was like, oh my gosh, I wouldn't even feel this bad right now if I wasn't forcing myself to have to come up with an answer. But because I don't have an answer, I'm feeling even worse, because I'm like, oh my God, now I have to sit in this suck. And I just want to hurry up and like have an answer so I can get out of it, was what I was doing. And then I was meditating when I got back. And I was like, God, how do you allow the space for the feelings and honor those? Because I do believe they need to be felt and they need to be honored, while not letting them take you out, right? Not letting them own you. Because I also believe your feelings should not own you, right? We have a will, we have discipline, right? We can't just let our feelings completely take us out of life. And I got the coolest visual. And I actually have heard the life coach school lady talk about this on her podcast. She talked about how we are constantly being served a platter of emotions to choose from. It's like somebody walking around with a tray of hors d'oeuvres, and there's all different emotions on the tray. And they're like, well, do you want anger? Do you want sadness? How about amazing? How about joy? How about peace, right? There's always a tray. And I would say if we look inward and we talk to our passengers on the bus, like I've talked about, right? And we acknowledge things that we've been through, that's us looking at that tray and saying, yes, I see you, sadness. Yes, I see you, anger. Yes, I can choose to feel this. I can choose to pick this up. I can choose to express it, and I can choose to let it go, right? We always have a choice of which emotion we're going to hold on to. We always have a choice of observing the emotion and allowing that space to observe it, but we don't necessarily have to ingest it. Okay? And I think what I was doing was I was observing it and going, I have to eat them, right? Like, because they're here and I'm supposed to observe them, that means I have to eat them and I have to feel this way. And it was like the weirdest thing to literally visualize the highest version of me and then the past passenger me that had that emotion, and realize like, hey, past passenger, I see you, I see your emotion, and I can honor that. And I can maybe even allow myself to express some of that for you. And then the highest version of me can just give you a hug and say, like, it's okay. You can feel this way. And I'll create space for you to feel this way, but I'm going to keep going. And I've heard Kayla say this before, but I just could not grasp it for myself until literally a few days ago. And I was like, oh my gosh, I get it now. Like, I can do this and not be taken out by them. And so I wanted to share my takeaways with you guys in case you're in that same place, because it is important to honor our feelings. It is important to honor our emotions, but we can't let them take us out of the game. So what I came up with was I ask, first of all, where in my body do I feel this? Because usually it's somewhere in your body specifically. And so, in order to feel an emotion, you want to identify where in your body you're feeling it and what the emotion is. So, I'll get fear in the pit of my stomach, and I will get sadness in the back of my throat. I have different areas for different things. And I will just literally close my eyes and picture it and try to even put a shape to it, right? Or a color, and like picture what it looks like. And then I'll say, how do I feel this needs to be expressed right now? Do I need to write a letter? Do I need to cry? Do I need to hit some pillows? Like, what do I need to do to actually let myself move this emotion through my body? Because that's the goal. You want to move the emotion through your body. That's how you process it. And then you do that, you take that action. And then when you're done, you sit down and check in again with your body and say, where do I feel this in my body now? And chances are it's probably dissipated or it's changed into a different emotion, and you'll feel it slightly different or in a different place of your body. Or maybe it felt like, it was a big boulder before, and now it feels like it's a river, right? It might feel differently. And then you can identify that. Okay, awesome. Is this still an emotion that needs to be processed? Is this still like an emotion from my past that I need to let go of? What is this emotion right now? And check in with yourself. And then you get to say, am I done like processing this and I can move on? Or do I need to process some more? And based on that, you get to choose. Awesome. Now the highest version of me is going to come in. What emotion does she want to feel right now? What emotion does she want to show up with today? And then do a visualization where you literally visualize her, you visualize her life, you visualize how she's interacting with people, you visualize how she's feeling, and that will help you start to embody the emotions yourself. But that will help you as you process emotions to not get stuck in them and to not let them own you. And I just thought it might be helpful for some of you guys because we're going to face emotions every single day, and we need to know how to honor them without having them own us. So I hope this visualization helped you guys. And I will totally share more about Sedona and takeaways that I got there and all of my experiences, which was amazing. But remember, whatever you're resisting persists. So what are you resisting? Maybe you're just resisting accepting the emotion that you have. Maybe you're just resisting the lack of clarity. Maybe you're resisting the pull inside of you. Maybe you're resisting your better judgment. What are you resisting? It's going to persist, and it's actually going to pile onto your emotions. So use those emotions as a way to check in with yourself and say, what am I resisting right now? What would it look like to accept this? What would it look like to accept this fully? And just observe without judgment or expectation. I thought I was someone that could judge without or observe without judgment. And the more I do this, and the more I literally try to make space for myself to feel the emotions, I realize I judge all the time because the reason I want to like hurry up and get through them is because I'm judging them. I'm like, oh, I don't like this, so I just want to hurry up and get this done. That's a judgment, right? What does it look like to just observe and say, that's interesting, that's curious, huh? All right, what does that feel like, right? Like, just be curious about it and ask questions. All right, I hope you guys loved this episode. Remember, I have my 30-day Content That Converts group starting on October 26th. You are totally welcome to join. If you're tired of having to come up with new content every day, or you're like, oh my gosh, every time I try to come up with content, it feels like I'm just throwing spaghetti at a wall and hoping something sticks. If you're super tired of having people say, you're so motivating, but then they don't actually want to pay to sign up with you, that's a content problem. And it's because you're not using formulas that sell. There are literal formulas that you use for content when you want it to convert to a sale. And I'm going to be teaching you all of them in my brand new content workbook that you will get to keep and use to create content for the rest of your life. So it's going to be an incredibly transformational group. If you're interested, go over to my Instagram, joyharrington.ig. I have the link in my bio to sign up. You have to be in by the 26th because it's a 30-day group and everybody's going to get going at the same time. There's live trainings, there's coaching calls. You're not going to want to miss it. All right, I will see you guys over there.